A very good morning to you and welcome to the Morning Breeze. I almost said Media Roundtable because on a Friday, that's what's on our minds each and every time. But welcome to the Morning Breeze. It's always a pleasure having your audience. How are you doing? Let's thank God for your life today. Let us wake up and think about all the good things, the fact that you can breathe on your own, the fact that you can, do all the scientific exclusion of what you don't need in your body. Sometimes you don't think about that as being important until you go to hospital and find out that people are feeding through tubes, that people are on oxygen, their lives are supported by oxygen, they're in high dependency units. That is when you get to realize that if I am able to move and do things on my own, it's reason enough to say, thank you, God. And that is what I always say, that sometimes we focus a lot more on what we do not have and forget the little that we have, and then we keep sulking and we keep thinking that life is not a good thing. Just earlier on, before we came on air, Dalton was watching a video online, and we were chatting about how when you're looking at things happening online, you think, oh, life is a luxury. You live a movie life, and yet in reality, it's a totally different one. Anyway, yes, I'm not alone. My name is Mildred Tohaise. I am right here with Dalton Kawesa. Dalton, how are you doing?
I'm okay, and in line with what you've just said, we thank God that we have made it to Friday.
Yes.
Because we never take it for granted. You never know that you will make it to Friday. And I want to congratulate everyone out there that, yes, he has given you another lease of life. And Friday here it is, as you ushered into the weekend. I know it used to bring a lot of excitement. I don't know, this time people have created happiness. There used to be an advert on TV. Don't look for happiness while others look for happiness.
Create it.
So let's create the happiness and be happy for the day and for the months to come.
Yeah, that's the most important thing. That is the most important thing. Create your own happiness, because even love, first, before you learn to love, before you get loved and feel what love is, do you even love yourself? Can you pamper yourself? Do you care about yourself before you seek for someone to care for you and pamper you? You can never even get to experience how much someone else loves you if you don't love yourself that much.
Absolutely. Intrinsic things affect the exterior. You have to sparkle from within. Having that, therefore, it reflects on so many people. And definitely you get the right friends. If you're very sad, I remember I used to tell people, I have a UPDF face. So if you're very sad, definitely you'll not.
I hope the UPDF will not take this life. Not at all.
Will not actually attract the basic. And mental health. The discussion on mental health is a big discussion, especially in companies. And there are companies that have relegated the discussions. Even at home, how you treat your children affects their mental health.
True.
Because if they are not happy, we have been told, when I was growing up, I was told that if you blame your child learns also to deflect everything, even when they should take responsibility. I'm glad to work in organizations where people are inspired to take responsibility and acknowledge mistakes. In that, they start to love themselves, and they are given chance to make mistakes.
True.
And when someone is given chance to make mistakes, they learn, and they are happy.
That's
And when they are
very
happy, they perform.
And that's why I always tell people, if you've made a mistake, if you've messed up,
Yes.
well, it's good. It's good to regret a bit, but don't regret forever. Pick up lessons from that and move on. That's the most important thing. Pick up lessons, and the next day when such a situation comes, you'll handle it
So what are the
differently.
lessons in the COVID fight?
Saving more, yes, and as we continue to talk about COVID, because we already still have about 49 new cases that have been reported out of the latest, report, and 3 deaths that have as well been reported out of the latest statistics provided by the Ministry of Health. But I love when Dalton asks what lessons have we picked or have we taken? Dalton, look at the total doses administered. We're almost hitting the 4 million mark. That's at 3.9 million people already. So maybe for the skeptics who said even the president's target of 4.8 million will not be reached, it's probably time to start rethinking some of those statements. But I love when you ask what lessons do we take from COVID. I think saving is very key. Family is very key. paying attention to our health in terms of, they always talk about 5 doctors of life: doctor water, doctor sleep, doctor exercise, doctor good nutrition, and all that. Now more than ever in COVID-19, we've been reminded about those 5 doctors that we need to pay attention to each and every day.
It's very important. And I remember at the fact in 2020 when they had just locked, and it was a showbiz on the streets for people to come and do some jogging. Others were just for fashion expression. Because their habits are picked. When people bored, they tend to think differently. And previously, because maybe there was plenty, the economy was fully functioning, there was a lot of money, maybe there was some money at their disposal. But given the tightness of the economy, people have now learned to adopt new behavior. If they have to drink, they drink from home. Those that really obstinate, born obstinate, they drink in the local kabalaza. You know the kabalaza? I don't know whether you know kabalaza. People get that local chiduka and sit there and drink.
Just sit on the, I've seen quite many of those.
And because they don't want to stay home, or they have stayed home forever, people have also learned that you don't have to pay for gym.
You can do it yourself.
You can do it at home.
Walk.
Take a walk. You'd see numerous people walking, and people and you bump into someone and say, "Oh, saw you in my neighborhood."
Very much.
Have you?
That has happened severally, especially when you're doing the early morning jog. I normally experience that probably over the weekend, when you're doing an early morning jog and you get to realize your neighbors with so many people.
Yes, and their scaries. Also, we have taught our scaries. They have learned that before they allow in anyone, they sanitize, they use the gun. So it's become so normal. There are lessons that we need to pick. There are lessons that we have picked during this, but the lemonade, they say, we have made it out of this lemon called COVID-19. So it's critical for us that if we have picked good behavior, we should advance it. The rest that is bad, we should keep it the previous ones.
Yeah, that's very true. Let's pick up our pieces, learn the lessons, take away all the bad things that happened during COVID-19, because there's a new life that is supposed to start, or that has already started during this COVID-19 experience. Now, moving on a sad note, there was a bomb blast in Nakaseke, particularly Kapeka Trading Center. Now, it is believed, according to the LC3 chairperson Moses Semfuma, he says that, these residents probably picked up a scrap metal, and they were probably trying to weld it. People who sell scrap and pick up scrap, they were trying to weld it and it blast out. And this is not the first time. And I think about 2 weeks ago, Dalton, we still had 3 children who died. That was in Segalie village in Semuto sub-county. And this is while they were also playing with a bomb. And it is still believed that these are some of the remains of the NRA war, the 1981 to 86 war in the Luwero Triangle, that people are still suffering the brunt. Kids pick up a metal and they're playing, they do not know what exactly it is, it blasts out, kills 3. And then welders pick up a metal scrap, trying to weld it or deal with it, and it as well, blasts out once again.
Well, it's very unfortunate, very, very, very unfortunate. And these are young people trying to eke out. But also, there's something that we need to speak about, the operations of government. In the early 2000s, having grown up in Makinde, in the early 2000s, you would when government was towards handing purpose, when government purposed to hand over Lubiri, the palace, then it had been occupied by soldiers since 1967. There was deliberate combing of Lubiri in order to diffuse the bombs that were planted in the palace.
Yes,
Lubiri main.
Yes.
What then happened? Of course, I think one of, when you comb the history of that place, one of the bombs went off, though it did not kill, but at least they were being diffused by the army. These bombs were put in place by the Obote 2 government and Obote 1 and 79. That is Obote 1 and 79 of Idi Amin. What does the government do? Periodic checks in the triangle, because Kapeka is in the triangle. Yes, I think it should be deliberate for government, because Mildred, look at it this way: there was bush. Because of population, you've had the population, we have gone back down. Every year we get 1.2 million babies born in this country. 1.2 million babies born. That means that there is pressure on the land. The land that was not utilized and was a forest, people are going to go there. And that's how we find ourselves, people going to and picking stones, picking rather metal, which turns out to be bombs.
Yes.
Government, the Ministry of Defense and Veteran Affairs, they can do it annually. To comb these areas the way they did Lubiri, the palace in Mengo, to clean it of bombs.
Grenades, bombs,
exactly.
Because we've all seen some grenade attacks.
Yes, because this was a place, a triangle that UNLF with NRA rebels, then the Uganda army. I mean, this was a tango place for them. Definitely, there are remains of these ammunition.
Yes.
For them to think that after 33 years in government, everything is out, we have been proven wrong. And this is a life. Government is going to compensate these parents, but compensation alone is not important, is not enough.
Not enough, yes.
Because a life, you don't know what this person was, the potential of this person. Perhaps he was the guy that is going to make us the airplane that we need. Perhaps it's because this scrap, they learn a lot of things through looking at this scrap and collecting it. So I request whoever is in charge, who's the Minister of Defense? Tempija.
Yes.
Is it still the Minister of Defense?
We keep switching.
So no, he's the Minister of Defense. But he's not.
And Veteran Affairs?
Yes. So the Minister of Defense, Honorable Vincent Sempij,
please,
should do something about it.
That's true.
Yes. Should ask the help of the UPDF, Flavia, Brigadier Flavia Biekwaso,
yes,
the spokesperson. We need to help the people of Luwero Triangle. Because then people are going to start going to question, Mildred, that why are these bombs going on now?
Why are they blasting now? Exactly.
You get it? Yes. Because it's very suspect.
And this coming at a time after there have been calls and calls of compensation of the, NRA war victims, which hasn't come through as yet. I totally agree with you that suspicions would definitely arise at such a point. We need to clean up these areas. Now, to the parliamentarians, once again, well, I love that this is a discussion that will be dropping on the media roundtable. When the president said, this is a decorated, what was this?
Decorated scientist.
Decorated scientist. He said, members of parliament, you better be alleging the truth. Otherwise, if it's not the truth, he will deal with you, whoever is alleging. And the members of parliament are saying, no, Mr. President. If there is an allegation, let us go through the investigation. The same thing I was saying yesterday. Let us go through the investigation. If it proves otherwise, then it is good for the country, good for her name as well. If it proves that, yes, there was a misappropriation of the over 30 billion shilling science research fund, then we deal with that as well.
You see, Mildred, the folly in this, I've looked at, if you've monitored, if you've been there, you've been around, read about President Museveni, he has one big problem, is to think that because someone is doing good, they should first wait on to be accountable. There are a litany of examples.
You can do 80% good, but there is a 20% hidden.
And it can destroy.
And it can destroy.
There is a litany of examples. I can't. Right from the privatization of UCB, if you remember very well, the president said he forgave his brother. Yes? We come to this very example. We come to...
We've seen praises heaped over Kale Kihura, former Inspector General of Police.
Yes.
There were praises heaped over, Jennifer Musisi, the Executive Director of Kampala.
So the president forgets that we had even the Kazindas. They were very excellent in accounting. But at the end of the day, Kazinda, where is he?
He's behind bars.
The president, there was a Bakoko Bakuru.
Oh,
who
yeah.
he said was transferred. Where is she? And this, the president ushered praises on them. So the president sometimes, although for him from where he stands, you look at that he's looking at the bigger good. before anything. The president was told when Chogam happened, he was told about these hotels that were charging money that was not supposed to be charged. The president told him. We had the 6 billion bonanza.
I remember.
You see?
I remember.
The president
and then we
said,
were reminded how much money we were saved.
Exactly. We have exactly. Keith would remind us about the money he saves us from every time he will be asked a few things. See? So the accountability question, the president should accept and leave the law to take its course.
Very true.
Because in the aspiration of the president thinking that the scientists or whatever these other people are making, he is, in other words, setting the Achilles heels are these disadvantages.
And that's what we are saying, Dalton, that if what we would condemn are any acts of malignment and looking down and spoiling people's names, but that can only be proven by evidence. And that is why we're saying, let's go ahead. Yes, Mr. President, if you find out that these were wrongful allegations, then get a way of dealing with whoever came up with the allegations. But if there is a tinge of truth, however small it would be, then we need to investigate.
I don't want the president to say that he was misled.
I don't think there is anyone who told him not to, to support or say whichever statements, though then he wouldn't have been misled. Maybe misled by his conscience.
Of course, to flip the coin, there are also allegations in this country that have been proved to be false.
Yes, yes, true.
You remember Sam Kutesa and Patrick Amama Mbabazi were accused on the floor of Parliament. One of Tema Angalo. Number two, Kutesa was accused of conniving for the oil deals. Parliament was challenged to prove. Parliament was taken to court. Individuals were taken to court. At the end of the day, it was produced. To Noam Sinja, I'm forgetting the lawyer that took Parliament and these individuals on behalf of Severino. Actually, it was Severino.
Yes.
Severino took them to court, wherever he is. I don't know where Severino is now these days. And evidence was not adduced in that regard. But as the processes take place, to the president, my president of this country, please, there are laws of the land. We have lost money. Remember the scandal in the sale of the Dairy Corporation? Yes. We have different scandals, and because and I can't even tell you, even the oilers we summarize. The president was told these deals are wrong. I didn't want to talk about power itself. I will not talk about companies involved in power. You remember at the time we had so many generators and we were told the country should import more generators? When there was this company deal, I don't want to mention them. But then the mistakes were made by people the president sent abroad to study energy. And they made us make mistakes because the president thought they are good people.
They indeed started to make us get into losses as a country, unfortunately, at some point in time. But moving on, it is sad. I think for anyone who is driving in the city these days, the first thing you pay attention to is look at that pump price. Now more than ever, we are paying attention to value of money as well as quantity in terms of gas or fuel that you are receiving from that pump. Many a times, Dalton, like I've already said, you just go to a pump and say, fill 50,000 or 20,000 or 100 or whichever it is, or you just say full tank. You do not even know until you're told, oh, full tank is this particular amount, and you don't even know how much in terms of quantity you took up. But I think it's beginning now more than ever to pinch the price of fuel, the pump price of fuel. About 2 weeks ago, we were still looking at a double increase in less than a week.
Yes.
Twice increase, and now it continues to go up.
Some weeks ago, I went to fuel, and I did not believe what I was given. I felt I was cheated, not for the price, before we come to the price. So I complained. Not to I just realized, you drive off, then you realize later. So I complained somewhere in some quarter, and there's this guy called Simon Kasia.
Yes, please.
Said if you want to avoid being cheated, what they call mpeo, bakubi mpeo, not being given the rightful liters for your fuel, fill it, put full tank. I looked at him, I laughed about it because the economy Then if you put full tank.
Because of the economy.
I asked a week later, I asked Simon, I said, do you still put full tank?
Full tank at this point in time, yes.
I'm tempted to play a song when I'm going to fuel, or when I'm in a taxi and they're fueling. I asked them in Nsiba Jitunda, you know that tewali atufako. Because look at it this way, no one is bothered, and the minister came on and said that we do not have self-controls for this.
Yeah, because currently there is a global crisis, definitely.
Yes.
We know the issues happening in not South Sudan, Saudi Arabia.
Yes.
I was thinking about neighboring South Sudan. But also the tax, however small, this is the discussion also that came through while we were looking at unlocking the potential, Uganda's potential for the African continental free trade area. That if we continue with such taxation, which is tax deepening as opposed to tax widening, it continues to bite bigger and harder on the very people who are coming through. But we ask ourselves, Dalton, currently as a country we use 6 million liters of oil, oil in terms of fuel, per day. But we don't have a capacity that can even store, fuel that will take us for a month in terms of reservoirs. Okay,
it's very unfortunate. That's why I say sometimes you just want to say Fako. One reason why the people, the motorists, may be crying, and indeed they are crying, it is affecting production. Someone is going to tell even the price of diesel is up.
Is up, yes.
And it's affecting production. In the long run, why do you have the 200 shillings on a litre? In circumstances where, I know it's through legislation, in circumstances where you find yourself, you're going to affect the bigger picture. The bigger picture is the cost of living is going to be high because the production costs are going to be higher. Remember, even electricity, the costs are still very high.
Yes.
So the industrialists are facing it rough, even if it just next media. Money that you're paying for fleet to move people around. If we were spending a day would spend 500,000 just to move reporters around. And in the city, we have not added on upcountry and name it. It means that you have to double. The electricity will also double.
Yes.
See?
Every other price.
So if Next Media is employing 400,000, you would think otherwise, because you want to cut to reduce on the costs of operation. Next Media is just an example. Just look at your salon, that small salon.
When power is off, how much you will have to use in terms of a generator fuel and
And we have run an economy that is highly in the informal sector.
Okay.
You see? So there needs to be a deliberate move by government to have checks. Finally, for us, for everyone out there that is driving using the other ways for us to mitigate this, move only when you have to.
Yeah, move only when you have to, or sometimes do a walking if you are not too far away.
Alternatively,
from your home.
if you're coming, do the Entebbe method. The Simon Jala, where they come from, yes? You just park, people enter, you subsidize. If you see, that's the only way.
Well, I think so. But maybe by 2025, this will be a discussion, because Dalton, I was looking at our equity, 40% when it comes to the oil refinery, which will be taking about 60,000 barrels of oil. That's about 9.5 million liters per day out of the 230,000 crude oil that will be taken out. So that means we will be exporting the 130,000 barrels of crude oil and keeping the 60,000 barrels, meaning we can be able to produce 9.5 million liters. Our current, like I said, our current expenditure, I mean our current use in terms of fuel is 6 million liters, which is expected, of course, to grow by around 2025. Will this mathematics be working out, and also putting into consideration, putting up much more bigger reservoirs? That is a discussion that we want to pay attention to at a much later stage. You are still watching The Morning Breeze. Desire Dereford Mugumisa is giving us sport in just a bit, and then later on it will be the media roundtable.
The future is here. Play, pause, rewind your favorite TV show anytime, anywhere on the Afro mobile app. That's right, it's that easy. Simply download the Afro mobile app and discover a world of the most amazing local and international content. Radio shows, podcasts, mixes by your favorite DJs, and so much more. Get breaking news in the palm of your hands from a wide range of trusted sources. And that's not all. You can chat with your friends, favorite journalists, TV and radio show hosts. Enjoy this and a lot more when you download the Afro mobile app for free. Available on Google Play Store and the App Store.
NBS Television and Nextcom remain your unrivaled platforms for webinars, e-conferences, and high-level talk shows, debates, product launches, and more. The COVID-19 pandemic should be no reason to halt your communication with your clients. Talk to us today via info@nextmedia.co.ug or by call 0776 444 220. NBS always. Nextcom, making digital work.